all we are asking for is that we protect the sanctity and sanity of our electoral processes and our democracy. I don't think we're asking for too much. We're basically asking for what every single Ghanaian is clamoring for. But as usual, we have our friends from the NDC, their usual playbook. 4 years is here again, and we are going through what we always go through every cycle. Our electoral process is one of the most transparent electoral processes you can have in the world. And we don't have to do too much to ensure that we get what it is that we are looking for. And to see the NDC jittery, extremely jittery. I mean, just a few minutes ago, we all watched a very unnecessary, very unnecessary and disgraceful press conference from the NDC. And you can see the demeanor, the high level of uncertainty, from them. They are completely unsettled. And it's simply because, like I always said, one, they were overly complacent. Two, they took the good people of this country for granted, and they assumed that once it is 8 years, they are coming to power. Reality is settling in, and instead of doing a self-check and a reality check and improve upon themselves, they want to inflict upon the entire country the damage that they themselves have brought upon themselves, and they want us to all live in it together. That is what we are not going to allow. And we want to thank every single Ghanaian, every single citizen of this country, both those within and without, those living abroad, for working together with all the institutions and bringing us this far. We encourage everybody to remain calm but extremely vigilant. Trust us. Believe us. This election is going to go to a very sensible conclusion. Nothing else. Trust the MPP on that. It is going to go through a very successful conclusion, and a very sensible one as that. As usual, the NDC is doing what they know how to do best, behaving in the most irresponsible and disgraceful manner that you can expect from a political party. They are calling on their supporters at this hour. Elections are over. Your supporters were supposed to mobilize the people and get them to their votes, their polling stations, and cast their votes. That is what political parties do. Simple process. Campaign, encourage your supporters to canvass for you, get the voters to go to the polling station, cast their vote for you. Everybody in the full glare of the public, the counting is done at the polling station. You have agents. All the other political parties have agents. You finish, you sign at the polling station that you accept the results at your polling station. When that is done, simple process. Move your pink sheet from the polling station and take it to the constituency coalition center, where you have your agents there with the electoral commission. And what is going to happen there is simple. The sheets, the pink sheet that your agent signed at the polling station, is being brought to the constituency coalition center, and that is where those figures are going to be put together and summed up. When that is done, the constituency would now pick the constituency sheets from the constituency coalition center and take it to the regional coalition center. At the regional coalition center, let's use the Eastern region as an example. 33 constituencies. All they are going to do at the regional coalition center is to pick the 33 constituency coalition sheets, which you have a copy, and sum it, and then move it from there and bring it to the center, which is the electoral commission here in Accra, and they put together 16 coalition results, and we have our elections called. And so it's baffling, extremely baffling, to have the NDC behave the manner in which they are behaving. They continue to also peddle some falsehood. Somewhere around 4:30 p.m. thereabouts, the NDC held a press conference, and they are saying that the NDC organizer in the Ashanti region has discovered 500,000 ballot papers, which they claim are ballot papers that they have discovered being hidden by the MPP. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a complete falsehood. It's a complete lie. It's a falsehood. All we saw in that video is Joseph Yamin, the organizer of the NDC in the Ashanti region, holding his own phone, having a camera placed on him by his own people in a certain room with no resistance. No owner of the room, no owner of the house, not a single person they met in the room accustomed, standing and having a conversation, cheerfully telling somebody that I've discovered ballot papers. Our checks indicate that, first of all, the room they claim they discovered those ballot papers are not even at the location they indicated. Number two, these are actually ballot papers that Yamin himself took to the Ashanti region for whatever reason. Remember, they had already given some of these ballot papers to the youth organizer of the Atrima Kwama constituency. The police had already issued a statement on that. We showed a video earlier on, and maybe before I conclude, I'll show that video, where the son of the constituency youth organizer of the Atrima Kwama constituency was arrested by the Ghana police. For attempting to stuff a ballot box with 79 ballot papers. These ballot papers were part of the ballot papers that you saw Joseph Yamin standing by. What had actually happened was that Joseph Yamin realized that he had 30 minutes for elections to end, and he had not been successful to execute that task that had been given to him by his party. And so to save his face, he all of a sudden goes on video using a selfie and telling the whole country that he's found some ballot papers that belongs to the MPP. That's an outright lie. It's a complete falsehood, and it's something that everybody should disregard. We are calling on the Ghana Police Service to investigate to the latter that video that Joseph Yamin has put out, because they are an absolute threat to the stability of this country. They do not show us the number of the alleged ballot papers. We never see it. We only see some brown boxes or brown papers, you know, in the corner. They do not tell us the exact quantity that they have, because you have the deputy spokesperson of the flag bearer of the opposition party indicating on her Facebook post that they have discovered some 300,000 ballot papers. Then Joseph Yamin says 500,000. Then another NDC person says 400,000. So it tells you the kind of people they are and what it is that they are doing. Again, we do not see any MPP official in the video. So think about this. Joseph Yamin, for some reason, has magic. Identifies a building that has ballot papers, goes into that house, and there is nobody in the house. Joseph Yamin walks into that house seamlessly. The Joseph Yamin we know has a suspicion that there is a ballot paper hidden in the house, would start recording himself from the road before even getting to the gates, before walking into the room. Strangely, Joseph Yamin switches off his phone or his video, breaks into whichever house, opens whichever door, gets into a room, and then only begins to record himself inside a room. These guys really take the entire country completely as fools, because it doesn't just add up. The same Joseph Yamin gets into the room before inviting media. This Joseph Yamin we know, having picked intelligence that there is some ballot papers hidden somewhere by the MPP, will call the media, call police, and walk in there with them before he even puts a video on himself. He doesn't do any of these things. Again, we only see him in a corner with a video on himself. Now, you've discovered some 500,000 ballot papers in an MPP stronghold, and then the only evidence you show us is a selfie of yourself in a room having a conversation with somebody excitedly, telling the person that you've discovered some ballot papers, and then telling us that you are now calling police to come and do whatever it is that you're expecting them to do. We all know the reasons why the NDC are behaving this way. Everybody in this country knows that this is not the first time we are going through this. Unfortunately, as a people, we have to deal with being inflicted with this every single election period. The NDC are clearly losing these elections, and they know it. As we speak, the elections have already been counted at the polling stations. Every political party has copies of the pink sheet. They know it. They know very well they are losing these elections, and that is why they would call for havoc. We are winning these elections as a party. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is winning these elections, and that's why we are saying that Let's protect it. If we are winning, why would we want the electoral processes to be disrupted when we are winning? And so, I'm sure a lot of you recall the story in the Bible. I think it's a Solomon story. The story of the two rival women, where they went to sleep, woke up in the morning, and one of the babies are dead. Now the king calls these two women fighting over the living child. And then he says, why are you fighting? He said, this is my child, this is my child. Then the king says, okay, no problem, bring me a sword. This is the living one. Cut the living child into two so that you can all have a half of it. Now, you remember, the woman who knew very well that the dead child is her said, yes, kill the baby. Kill the baby. Now, the woman who knew that this child is my child, and because he's my child, I don't want the baby dead, said that, my king, if he would please her, give her the child. All this woman sought to do was to make sure that her child does not die. But the other lady that knew that she was guilty, knew that she had already lost her child, was willing for both of them to lose their children. That's exactly what the NDC are doing. They know they've lost. They know they are nowhere near victory in these elections. And that is why they would irresponsibly call on their supporters to move towards the coalition centers to disrupt the coalition centers. Already, we have heard of incidences in some of the constituencies. We saw some on TV where some NDC persons were somewhere in Dansoman breaking through the coalition center and basically attacking security services. What is this? At the coalition centers, you have your agent. Why do you want to go and destroy ballot papers and disrupt the electoral process if indeed you are confident that you have won these elections? Why? Why would any political party that is willing and ready to lead this country, why would any political party that is very, very clear in his mind that he has won this election want to disrupt these electoral processes? We will not allow that. Just as we've told you from the get-go, throughout the process, we have blocked each of the ill intent of the NDC. Every strategy they brought into this election has failed. And we are going to continue to ensure that they fail at it. And this one is also going to fail. At this juncture, we are waking every single MPP supporter up. Wake up. Call your families, call your brothers, call your sisters. Go to the coalition centers, protect the EC, help the police protect our electoral system. Our democracy needs to be protected. And it will take the citizens to protect our democracy against this dangerous political party, the NDC. Go there, stand there, touch nobody, but make sure that nobody touches any electoral material. Make sure that nobody touches any security officer. And make sure that nobody touches any electoral officer. If anybody comes to the coalition center and attempts to touch anybody at the coalition center, you have our permission to touch that person because you are protecting democracy. That you have our blessing. And we stand by you for doing the right thing because that will be a patriotic action. As it stands now, our call on you is to collaborate and cooperate with these officers, electoral officers and security officers, and ensure that we protect the ballot that the Ghanaian citizen has cast, stood in the sun, some of them being beaten by rain and cast their votes. We are clearly wondering what it is that the NDC and their leader is seeking to achieve by these unnecessary and reckless comments that they are making. Not a single constituency as we speak has even lifted the hands of any parliamentary candidate in their constituency, ladies and gentlemen. It is a process. As we speak, it is just 9:54. Every constituency you go to, they are tabulating their results. They are collating the pink sheets from the polling station. When they are done, that is when they will lift their hands of the parliamentary candidate that has won, and the electoral officer there will now declare that parliamentary candidate the winner. It is then and only then that any responsible political party would come on air and declare and indicate that they have won. We have our results. We know all the seats we've won already, but we are responsible. We are responsible. And we believe that to protect the sanctity of our electoral process and democracy, we should hold on to our numbers and our results until the Electoral Commission declares at the constituency level. Then we will declare. Throughout the process, from now till tomorrow, Any moment that the Electoral Commission left the hands of any parliamentary candidates, that is from the MPP, we'll call you and we'll declare to you. That is what responsible political parties do. This election is going to be won with intelligence and not muscles. No matter how strong you are, no matter how much muscles you are, trust us. We are beating you with intelligence. And we are going to do it like we've always done it in previous elections. And like I always say, just as it is in the DNA of the NDC, whilst we are thinking and processing and using the due process, they are pumping, like they say it, and they are lifting metals. And then by the time they realize, they have lost. And then their followers will rise up against them. And then for them to hide behind the shame, they will call on their followers on the street. For the NDC followers, if you get on the street and the security agencies get hold of you, remember, you will be on your own. They will not be there with you. As we speak, Charles, the gentleman who is the son of the youth organizer of the NDC at Atwima Kwama constituency, is in police custody all alone. All alone. None of the NDC leaders are there with him. He is there all alone. And be rest assured, the police have shown clearly and indicated that they are on top of issues. And so if you get out there and misbehave to disrupt the peace of this country, you are going to find yourself wanting and you will be dealt with all alone. I leave all of us with 1 Kings 3:16. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16. When you read 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 16, and you understand that parable of the two women, you understand clearly what is happening with the NDC. It is nobody's fault that you are not seen as a credible alternative. Please, let us live in peace. Kindly, save us all the trouble. Kindly, let us all live in peace. You recall, in the year 2020, after the December elections, the NDC went on the street for weeks, destroyed properties, disrupted lives, spent months in court, only for them, 1 year down the line, the chairman of the NDC today, to go campaigning to their followers and tell them that their lawyer actually told them that they have no case and that they have no evidence. But because they wanted to energize the base and not be seen to be weak, they spent the time and wasted everybody's time in the court. That's exactly what they are doing again. We don't mind. They can keep all this emotional roller coaster to themselves and their followers, but they should not draw the entire country into this unnecessary disruption. We would get back to you in due course when the Electoral Commission begin to call the parliamentary and presidential elections at the constituency level, and we share that information with you appropriately. Until then, friends from the media, we are calling on you to work with us to ensure that we keep the peace and safety of this country in one piece. And we are doing this not because we do not have muscles. We are doing this simply because we believe we have won these elections and we want to have a country that is intact enough for us to be able to govern. Thank you very much.